Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to show and talk a little bit about the New Chapter Tarot by Kathryn Briggs, because I really wasn't sure about this deck when I first started to kind of see it up for pre-order a few months ago. And as I've looked at it more and went ahead and picked up a copy, I've fallen completely in love with this deck. The artwork is so amazing and beautiful, and yeah, I just kind of would like to show it off a little bit. This deck comes in a really heavy box with a interesting little flip bottom and a slide out thingamajig. I'm not a big fan of this type of box configuration. At least it's a little smaller and a little more compact, but you know, I just really want simple boxes. This, I mean, it is what it is. I made another box that I'll show you. I made another box that makes this better for me. So the cards are a little bit smaller than standard. I think they're about 4.5 inches long instead of the standard 4 1/4, and it doesn't seem like that would make a big difference, but if you have small hands, it really does make a big difference. It comes with like a little white book, but it's a little nicer than a little white book. It's got a hardcover, and it actually has color illustrations inside. It's not a ton of information. Normally I'm the type of person who's like, I don't need a whole guidebook for every single deck that comes out. But for this one, I actually would have liked a larger guidebook, especially if I could get it in a digital format. This deck has, and I'll show you as we go kind of look through some of the cards, it has a ton of symbolism in it. And it would have been nice to get a better feel for some of that and to get some explanation about that. In the book, in a larger book. There's not much for the majors. I'm sorry, for the minors. There's not much for the minors. They're pretty. It's just a tiny little paragraph of information for each of the minor cards. This has 2 extra cards, and this actually has a couple of really great tarot spreads in it. So I haven't tried all of them yet, but I'm very interested in going in and trying some of the tarot spreads. I'll move this out of the way, move this out of the way, and this out of the way. The other thing I guess I'll note that I don't really like about this is it's got this weird little insert inside the box, and that's what makes the book and the cards fit snugly. But to be honest, they spent all this time and production value on this very fancy box. And I guess I feel like if you're gonna do that, first of all, I don't think that needs to be done. I really prefer just a plain tuck box on most of my decks. But if you're gonna do all that, it seems weird to me that you'd put in this kind of cheap looking cardboard insert into it to take up, the extra space. So, I mean, it's not gonna be a big deal for me personally because I'm not gonna use this box. But it's just something to note. It just feels a little, I don't know, feels a little weird. So let me put this back and get it out of my way. I'm not using that. I am using these, and I have some cards separated out. So these are, I actually kind of thought these might have been colored pencils, but I believe I read this was actually watercolor paintings. And these are just absolutely beautiful. And they are very heavy with symbolism and with geometry. And I know you can kind of sort of figure some of that out as you go along, but in a case like this, I really would have liked to see some of Kathryn Briggs's insights as to why she chose certain colors or symbols or certain flowers, and kind of all of that, to be honest with you. I'm not going to do a complete walkthrough of this deck. I believe there's already some, you know, card by card flip throughs as you go. But this deck has a beautiful variety of people, ethnicities, shapes, sizes. So I really do enjoy that. The court cards, instead of having, you know, a male page, a male knight, and a male king, there's a better mix of genders within the court cards, which I appreciate. I actually prefer, more and more I'm coming to prefer completely non-gendered court cards. But this is the box that I made for the deck. I had a tarot deck I split up to trade individual cards from, and I ended up cutting that box down a little bit and painting it and making a little label for this deck. And I still have to seal it. I have to go over it with like a clear sealant, but it does fit just right. The cards fit in it, and I can kind of throw it in my bag, and it's not so big and bulky as the original box. The other thing that I guess if I had to say something that, you know, I don't quite love, it's going to be the cardstock. You know, I have a contentious relationship with cardstock. This is a very thick and non-bendy type of stock, and I can barely kind of do it, get a rifle out of it, but it's not very easy. And even with the smaller size, it's a little challenging. You know, this is published by Liminal 11, and there was, you can tell like a ton of thought and care went into this box and the design, and even the little hardcover book and stuff like that. And I really wish we could get back to, you know, having those things be nice, like okay, but really putting the money into cardstock, like something very flexible, bendable, that is gonna be resistant to creasing and is gonna hold up over time. You know, I wish we could kind of get back to that. I suspect it's not gonna happen, but you know, it would be nice. These do not have a glossy finish. I wouldn't call them full matte. I would call them kind of a standard. They have a little bit of a sheen to them. And so if if you're a anti-gloss person, you know, you'd probably be okay with these. You know, I'm somewhere between this kind of standard finish and matte usually tends to work a little bit better for me. So this was, you know, always going to be quick. These were on sale on Amazon. I don't know if they still are, but even at their regular price, I mean, and even with, you know, me not loving every single thing about the production, they're still a good price. They're still a good value. These are reading, I just don't even know how to describe it. They're reading so beautifully for me. I'm getting just a ton of great insight out of these cards. And as you know, if you've been reading for a while, you know, sometimes you see a deck that you think you're gonna love, and you get it home and you start to read with it and you're just like, eh, and it just doesn't really connect well for you. This was a deck that I thought, you know, well, it's pretty, but I just don't know if I'm gonna get a whole lot out of it. Is it that different from some of the other decks that I have right now? And so I kind of put off buying it, and then I finally went ahead and bit the bullet, and now I'm just completely in love with it. And I wanted the smaller box because I took it hiking with me yesterday and got some pictures. I like to pull cards when I'm out and on the trail because that's where I feel the most like centered and peaceful. So it's nice for me to have like a little compact place I can just kind of stuff the cards into my little sack to go hiking. But yeah, this one I didn't think it was gonna be this like immediate connection, and it was like just right out of the box. This deck, you know, and I connected, and I was getting really insightful readings right from the get-go. So this deck reminds me a little bit, just a little bit. Some of the geometric patterns and the colors reminds me a little bit of the Tarot of the Spirit, which is another one of my absolute favorite decks, like hands down, just one of, you know, my top 10 decks. And maybe that's why this deck and I connect a little bit more. I don't want to say they're similar. They're not really that similar, but there are little things as I go through and I read this. There are little things that remind me of that deck a little bit. Again, mainly like the color scheme. It's very bright colors, and that the Tarot of the Spirit also uses a lot of geometry and, you know, geometric shapes within its in its artwork. So, and that's another deck that I think is like really fantastic. Everybody should have a copy of it. It's it's an underrated deck. But I digress. So, yeah, I guess that's probably all I really wanted to say about this one today. I really hope people kind of pay attention to this one and get a good look at it, and you know, have it under consideration. I think this would be a good deck for beginners. It's not just something that that you know, that you have to really have studied tarot for many moons to understand. It has, through its imagery, I think it does give a really excellent sense of the meaning and the feel of the cards. So if you're looking for something new and interesting, definitely give this one some consideration. I've been posting with it on my Instagram, so if you'd like to see some more photos and if you'd like to see some daily reads, and I think I even did a solstice reading with a spread that a friend had posted using this deck. And so, you know, if you want to have a look at that, that's on my Instagram. You can go over and check it out, crossroads.cardslinger. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them below. Thank you for popping by my channel, and I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day.